Hello, Luminary. We made it to November, and it is a big month of push and pull as you balance the intensity of Scorpio and the approaching grandios of Sagittarius. All in all, it is a powerful month to energize your purpose. So tune in as we go over the November 2023 StarCast.
Welcome to Star-Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii-born Filipino-Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be.
All right, my friends, welcome back. I am recording this on November 1st after a full night of gallivanting around the neighborhood with my 7-year-old and all of his second grade and third grade and kindergarten and first grade friends. Oh my goodness. If you are a parent of a child that still loves to go trick-or-treating, you understand how the weekend before and the days leading up to Halloween are all about this one day of gathering candy. But we forget that, or I don't think you forget, but I want to remind us all to be more intentional because this Halloween, this and today, November 1st, and tomorrow, November 2nd, we are celebrating All Souls Day. We are celebrating Day of the Dead, All Souls Days, Samhain, however you celebrate. You know, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, the light has changed. And as our eyes adjust to this new light, we have visions of things that we couldn't see before that were shrouded in mystery. And so goes the veil between the living and the dead, the deceased, are so thin, uncovering so much. So today, at this time of year, is really indeed a time to celebrate our ancestors, celebrate that we are the hopes and dreams of our ancestors, and celebrate that our ancestors are still here. Our well ancestors, our healthy ancestors are still rooting us on, pushing us forward, putting us along our path, because as we move along our path, as we heal our own stories, as we awaken our gifts and our leaderships, we too are living these for our ancestors who have given so much to us. And so before we go into the November StarCast, I pulled out one of my favorite decks, of course, my friend Asha Frost, Indigenous medicine woman, and her deck, the Sacred Medicine Oracle. And, you know, I pull cards for myself pretty regularly, but I had a sense that I wanted to pull a card for all of the listeners, all of you, to see what our ancestors wanted us to hear. So the question that I asked before I started recording today was, what do our ancestors ask for us? And let me just say, I love this deck, the Sacred Medicine deck. This deck, it always speaks exactly to the question, not even in, I mean, the beautiful words are very symbolic, but the words are so specific to this question. So this is a question that I asked for all of us listening today, all of us that are looking to the stars to understand what's ahead of us, what's opening up for us in November, and especially what's opening up for us on All Souls Day, the Day of the Dead. So, again, the question, what do our ancestors ask of you? Ask of us, ask of me. So, what do the ancestors ask of you? The card that I pulled was the birch tree, number 29. And the key word on this card is humility. And at first, I was thinking, oh my goodness, do we need to have more humility in the way that we're functioning in the world? Where do we need to bring more kindness? Yes, indeed. All of those things are absolutely true. But I believe what the ancestors already to know of us is that if we are listeners here, if we're looking to astrology, if we're looking to spirituality that isn't based in religion, if we're looking towards our own leadership from a place of kindness and empathy and understanding our own challenges so that we can still show up as beautiful, equitable, kind leaders, that we already have some humility within us, more than enough, more than the average amount of humility within us. And how can we take that next step? And so, Asha's beautiful words, let me put on my glasses here so I can see this better. Asha's beautiful words says, Birch invites you to reach your crown up to the cosmos, one with creation, steady and rooted. Birch bark is layered with meaning, the white base filled with marks that look like scratches. Yet, we have used its medicines to build canoes. One could call birch imperfect, yet all we see is beauty and strength. Its medicine reminds us to take up the space we divinely deserve despite all our perceived imperfections. Oh my goodness. So I want to savor this a little bit. My friend, you are the birch tree. I am the birch tree. We are perfectly imperfect. What makes us so strong is our humility, are all the challenges that we've been conditioned with in terms of society or family or culture that have told you, have told me, have told us that you're not a leader. You're not what a leader looks like. You're not like what a leader acts like. You're not an entrepreneur that's just greedy and grabbing money. You're not some tall white male figure that is just taking all that there is, right? No, maybe you look like me. Maybe you're a woman of any age. Maybe you're a person of color. Maybe you don't fit within the binary norms of what society says is a leader or is not a leader. And all of those ways that you don't fit into those um, conventional definitions of leadership is why you, my friend, are here to be a leader, to take lead, to guide others, to share and contribute your wisdom based on your lived experiences, the challenges that you've had to overcome. Ah, oh, this is so beautiful. The imperfections that absolutely make you a leader filled with compassion, empathy, and humility. So Asha goes on and says, just like the flowers bloom into their fullest expression, the moss that spreads its greenish hue along the forest floor, and the stars that shimmer for thousands of years, you too are asked to see the same power in your presence. Okay, let's savor on that for a little bit. I have like tears just kind of welling up because remember the question that I asked this card was, what do our ancestors ask of us? What do our ancestors want us to know? What do our ancestors want us to take action on? Our ancestors want us to see our own power, our power that is built into our imperfections, our power that is built into our presence. You, my friend, are powerful simply because you are you. What a beautiful story. And so the healing affirmation, and if you don't already have this deck, I have to say, you have to go out and buy this deck because it's just so beautiful. Each of these cards, she has these beautiful spreads, like medicine wheel spreads, ancestor spreads, new moon, full moon spreads, all of these different spreads. So very different than other decks that I've experienced. But in each of the cards, there's a teaching as well as a ceremony and an affirmation that you're supposed to take with you. So the healing affirmation for this beautiful birch tree card is, I am a significant part of creation upon this planet. I choose to take up my rightful space here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know all of us here are listening to astrology because we want to be more impactful in our leadership, in our work, in our businesses, and how we create change in the world. Well, this is our ancestor medicine, what our ancestors want us to know, the healing affirmation. I am a significant part of the creation on this planet. I choose to take up my rightful space here. So, my friends, if you haven't got the message, your ancestors are asking you to stand up straight and tall like a birch tree in all of its beautiful imperfections, to take up space, to share your change making, impactful work, to stop hiding, to be visible, to use your voice so that you can contribute your one of a kind gifts. Whew. If that spoke to you as it spoke to me, I'm just like, wow, how could that card get any more perfect? I want to let you know that I have my next free masterclass coming up called Illuminate. So, in just a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks away, on November 15th, on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, I am hosting my free masterclass, Illuminate. I absolutely love this masterclass. This is like one of my first masterclasses that I've ever given. The first time I gave it was actually 4 years ago in November 2019. And in this masterclass, I want to show you how to connect the dots between your big three, your sun, your moon, and your rising, so that you can light up your luminary leadership. We'll be diving deep in terms of like looking at the blocks that you might have from really amplifying your sun, moon, and rising, and looking at ways that you can not only remove those blocks, but really radiate those energies in your change making work. And after all, the ancestors want us to be the mighty birch tree, to stand tall, to take up space, and to share our gifts and the power of our presence. So, my friends, I think this is also a call to you to take Illuminate. Now, because I've given this masterclass many times, it's my OG masterclass, the very first one I ever came up with. It's not exactly the same because over the years I've perfected, I've changed, and I've modified, and I've done all these little things to it that even if you've taken it before, you will learn so much more, because not only because I've changed the masterclass and shifted and edited things, but also because you're a different person. Life has definitely taken its different pathways. Your business, your leadership has gone through many different things. You might have more clarity. You might have more evolution, more shifts. This is a great time, even if you've taken this masterclass before, to come back and revisit it. I will be doing also at the end of the masterclass, and I'm really like making it so much more pointed so that we can like, I'll respect your time. I'm really seeing how I can be a little bit wordy and go on and tell all these stories, but I really want to respect your time. Get this under an hour. And I'll be doing some mini chart readings at the end of the masterclass. So if you want a chance to have your chart read by me, you'll need to show up live, stay to the end. I'll probably have time for about 5 to 10 masterclasses. So if you are interested, November 15th, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, head on over to starpowered.com/illuminate. You'll be able to put in your information, including your birth time, if you'd like to be selected for a mini chart reading at the end of the masterclass. So head on over starpowered.com/illuminate. Your ancestors are asking you to shine the light on your luminary leadership. Okay, my friends, let's get into this November StarCast. So, as I mentioned in kind of the intro, it is definitely a month of push and pull. Are we being intense? Are we going big? Are we trusting? Are we believing? All of these things, because we are really here to energize your purpose. Now, when you look up into the sky all month long, you will see Jupiter so bright shortly after sunrise. So right now, and for almost the entire month, Jupiter is sitting across the sun in the sky in its full moon phase. And so that's what's making Jupiter extra bright, because you can imagine, right? We see this, the moon is so bright when it's in its full moon phase, because the entire disk of the sphere of the moon is being reflected back to Earth with that with the sunlight. The same thing with Jupiter. Even though Jupiter is further out, it's still shining so big and bright. If you look up into the eastern horizon where the sun rises shortly after sunset, that bright glowing dot in the sky, super, super bright. Like I saw it last night when we were out trick-or-treating. That is Jupiter. Jupiter in all of its glory, wanting you to achieve your purpose, wanting you to exceed your expectations of yourself, wanting you to go big and connect all of the dots. Jupiter is shining its full moon light on us all month, allowing us to reflect on what is our purpose. Has it shifted? Because likely it has. And because we're still in Scorpio season, that Scorpio is always saying, okay, well, what don't we need? What can we let go? What can we eliminate? And so this is so beautiful as these two energies are working together this month, allowing us to elevate and achieve your big dreams by setting up boundaries and letting go of what those overdo it tendencies. I know I'm talking to myself here. And then, so as we also shift into the Sagittarius energy later through the month, right, we're going to have Mercury moving into Sagittarius, we're going to have the Sun and Mars all moving into Sagittarius. Well, Saturn is just hanging out at that first degree of Pisces all month. 0 degrees of Pisces, Saturn just hanging out there because Saturn's getting ready to shift. It's in retrograde right now, but it's getting ready to shift into direct. Saturn sitting so far out there, it's like one of those slow moving planets that when it shifts between direct and forward, it takes its time. So it's just putting the pressure down on that 0 degrees of Pisces. So we'll be feeling that pressure of Saturn all month also. But I'll let you know why we are super grateful for Saturn putting on the pressure, being the gatekeeper, because if we want to dream big, if we want to achieve big, if we want to impact big, we first need to have a few boundaries, a few bumpers, so that we can be most effective, so that we can be in complete ease and flow. So this month, in short, as you're energizing your purpose and your big dreams so you can say yes to all that is yours, you first have to decide what is a firm no. Whew, okay, so let's just kind of take an overview of what's going on. So again, remember that Jupiter is opposing the sun right at the beginning of the month. That is what is giving us that beautiful light from Jupiter. We can see it in the night sky, just so bright. And then Saturn in Pisces, Saturn and Jupiter always work so well together. Really be grateful for both Saturn and Jupiter, because like Jupiter unchecked is just going to go so big. Saturn unchecked is just going to like get super, super heavy. But when they work together is when the contrast of the push and the pull of the big and the expansion and the contraction really come in and allows you to create magic. I'm loving seeing Saturn in Pisces right now as this kind of like, the gatekeeper, bouncer, if you will, because Saturn likes to say no. Like, my son is a Capricorn, and his first instinct, anytime I ask him a question, is to say no. Even if he like really, really loves it, he can't like help himself. And so I take that to Saturn. Saturn is just like, nope, turning away until you prove why you get to be there. And so, Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius for an extended period on November 9th. And so as Mercury moves into Sagittarius, because Sagittarius and Pisces are both mutable energies and they square each other, right? So as soon as an energy moves into Sagittarius, it squares right away with Saturn, and Saturn is like, nope. And then Sagittarius has to like kind of like prove and prove its might to say like, no, these are the things I want to do. And Saturn's going to say, are you sure? Saturn's going to say to Mercury, are you not overthinking things? Are you not over analyzing things? Are you not like, biting off more than you can chew? And then Mercury would be like, no, I'm going to focus in on this. I'm not going to overthink. I'm going to crystallize my thinking. Saturn's going to be like, okay, you're in. And then when the sun moves into Sagittarius on the 22nd, so much later in the month, then the sun, our creation energy, Saturn's going to be like, okay, don't shine too brightly. And then the Sagittarius sun is like, who are you telling not to shine so brightly? Of course I'm going to shine so brightly. And then Saturn's going to remind, okay, shine brightly, but just like don't over create, don't overdo it. Shine as bright as you want without giving too much. And Sun's going to say, huh, hey, thanks, Saturn. Thank you for seeing how much more easy it can be. And then a couple of days later, because Mars is moving like in sync with the sun, getting ready for that Mars Sun new cycle, Mars then moves into Sagittarius a couple of days later on the 24th, so at the end again. And then as soon as Mars moves into Sagittarius, Mars is like, let's take action. Let's go do, let's go, let's activate. And Saturn's going to be like, hold on. I don't want you to blow out your fuse with all this energy and overcommitting things. So are you sure you want to do that? What do you have focus to really commit to and really activate instead of just like spreading your wildfire so thin? And Mars is going to be like, thanks, Saturn. I appreciate it. Yes, I want to focus in on this so that I can make my light even and my activation and my energy so much more impactful. So this month we say thank you to the pressure that Saturn is putting on that 0 degrees of Pisces to allow us to focus and to integrate on what is right for us, right for you, right for your soul purpose this November. Okay, so Jupiter, let's go back to the beginning of the month. Jupiter faces off with the sun in its full moon phase, exact on November 2nd. Again, we are already seeing it. Beautiful Jupiter lighting up the night sky. And, just look east right after sunset. It's right there. Jupiter with this full moon phase, a full moon phase, we say it's about letting go and reflection, but we're letting it go and reflecting so that we can decide. An opposition is always asking you to make a choice. Okay, to decide, to make a choice, to make a decision is to kill off one option. And when Jupiter decides, it allows Jupiter to savor all of the small moments, all the still moments, all of the moments you can say yes to yourself. I say this because Jupiter is still in Taurus. And so we can always want to go bigger, and that's what creates our over consuming culture, the need for bigger and better and just always like more, 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 more. And yeah, that's a total shadow of Jupiter. But in this place with Saturn, with the sun, with Scorpio, who's saying, hey, let's cut back. Jupiter is like, okay, let's savor, let's go big on the little things, on the moments that we can savor, like an extra stillness, an extra second in that hug when you hug a loved one, that extra moment you can savor, that warm tea as you take a sip, that extra moment that you can stop to smell the roses for just another extra second. When you choose to savor, this is a delight, a choice that you get to make. And when you savor, you are absolutely saying no to scarcity of rushing around. When you're rushing around saying, I have no time, I have to do this, hurry, 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 we're telling the universe that I am scarce. I have a lack of time, of capacity. And to savor is the antidote of scarcity. So when you are saying yes to making time to fully experience and savor every small thing, every small delightful thing, this will wake up Jupiter's grand Taurian abundance, affluence, and pleasure. All month, you'll be able to receive this abundant gift and bask in the light of Jupiter when you can savor the small stuff. Okay. Now, a couple of days later, on the 4th, November 4th, Saturn, sitting at that 0 degrees of Pisces, hits the brakes, shifts into direct. So now it's going forward, even though it's not budging from that spot of 0 degrees of Pisces all month. It's moving by minutes. It's progressing forward, but at a total snail's pace. Collectively, all of us here on planet Earth, it does feel like a pressure cooker. I'm not going to talk about all the terrible things going on into the world right now because all we can do is take a deep breath, be grateful that we are safe, that we have all these things that we can savor, and then we can move out and do the things that we need to do to make change. Okay. So since June, that's when Saturn went in retrograde. Saturn has allowed you to restructure, to re-strategize your flow and recrystallize your intuitive expertise, right? Saturn in Pisces is like, oh, this is kind of a weird, but Saturn in Pisces is really asking us to find more maturation, more mastery in our spiritual practices, in our interconnectedness, in our empathy, in our kindness, our compassion. See how much work we have to do here in mastering compassion, especially in the systems that are still governing most of us. So now that Saturn has been moving through that retrograde, re-strategizing and restructured, how has this worked out for you, right? Whereas, have you been really, truly working with this energy the last few months? If you have, I want you to reflect on what you've gained in clarity and trusting your intuition, trusting your compassion, trusting that Piscean interconnectedness. We are all being asked to master this. Now, when Saturn shifts gears and moves forward on the 4th, we all will be working with a higher consciousness. That's Pisces, because we've turned it on. We've tuned it in. We've mastered our intuitive gifts, not mastered like controlled it, but gone really expert, good at it, skillful, so that you can operate with more Piscean ease and flow. You now intuitively trust what is yours and what is not yours, so that you can politely be that bouncer. Saturn's your bouncer, you're a gatekeeper. Politely decline. Nope, nope, yes. Nope, nope, yes. How's that for grateful, gracefully setting boundaries? Now, the next week, the second week of November, Venus returns to her home sign of Libra. She loves being at home, of course, because her home in Libra, she gets two homes, one in Taurus that has all her favorite things, but one in Libra with all her favorite people, and in her glory and her power, giving us her beauty, her power, her time to connect and attract the people and partnerships we need in our life to thrive, because relationships matter, especially if you have a business, especially if you are a leader. You need your people. You need your people who are working on the same thing, believing in the same thing, making the impact, creating results for others. You don't have a business if you don't have relationships. You're not a leader if you don't have relationships. Okay, so now, mid-month, we have our Scorpio new moon. Now, Scorpio moons are intense. And yes, that's just a nature of playing with power. And with great power comes with great responsibility. And oftentimes, our power is unearthed and revealed because we have moved through some massive challenges. Earlier this week, I got to sit with Narayana Montfort. She works for Astrology.com. She's an amazing astrologer and artist. And we got to have tea this week. It was so much fun. And the time just flew by because we were talking, of course, about our favorite things about astrology. And we were kind of just sharing the like people that we know that have like Scorpio moons, who we can see their power, but sometimes the Scorpio moons can't see their own power because they're dealing in so much intensity. But the universe wouldn't have given you that intensity if the universe didn't know that you were just the person to be able to handle all that power. So regardless if you have a Scorpio moon or not, during the Scorpio new moon, we are all going to be able to tap into our true authentic power. Authentic power is that power that comes from within you. And as the birch tree reminded us, Your presence is all the power you need. Now, by the end of the month, Mars will enter Sagittarius. That's what we talked about in the beginning. When all these planets move into Sagittarius, they got to first talk to the Pisces, but Mars enters Sagittarius at the time, right around the time of the full moon in Gemini. So not only will Mars be squaring off with Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, but it'll also be opposing that moon in Gemini. And so this full moon in Gemini that we have at the end of the month is going to be a very activating full moon. Okay. So, right around the American Thanksgiving, third full week of November, we have a lot of things going on. Mars is super, super, super activated. Mars will be entering Sagittarius, later opposing the full moon on the 27th. Mars is going to be squaring with Saturn, and then the sun moves into Sagittarius. So there's going to be a lot of fire in the sky right around that third week. Also, the sun and Mars will be meeting up in Sagittarius as soon as both the sun and Mars move into Sagittarius right around the same time. 22nd is when sun moves into Sagittarius. 24th is when Mars moves into Sagittarius. And so a lot of sun Mars energy really activating that fire. So, the sun in Sagittarius, but sun ruled by Leo, and then Mars also in Sagittarius. So energies will be really high, which I'm really grateful for because I've been feeling pretty drained since these eclipses. So just know that if, when energies run high, we can have anything from anger and fear to advocacy and motivation. So let's keep the light of that fire high, all by really honing into our humility and compassion. So lots of things going on. Here's a review. We have Saturn retrograde ends at Pisces of 0 degrees on November 4th. I forgot November 2nd. We have the sun opposing Jupiter at its full moon phase, the halfway point of that retrograde phase. Venus enters Libra on November 8th. Mercury enters Sagittarius on November 9th. Sun enters Sagittarius on November 22nd, and Mars enters Sagittarius on November 24th, along with a Mars-Sun new moon phase, a new cycle between both energies of Sun and Mars. For our lunations, new moon in Scorpio, mid-month on November 13th, and full moon in Gemini the week after. Actually, that's on Cyber Monday on November 27th. Okay, so right around that time is when I'll be opening up doors to all of the year ahead things, Star Powered Circle and the Astro Brown certification, also Luminary mentorship. So many things are happening at the end of November. So I'm conserving our energy. The team is working really hard. And first things first, remember, Illuminate, my OG masterclass, is happening on November 15th. So if you want to sign up to attend live or catch that replay, head on over to starpower.com/illuminate. All right, my friends, I would love to know what you are looking forward to most in November. And remember, be the birch tree, take up space, and be that powerful presence in your leadership. Talk to you soon. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.